Welcome back, Appalachian gardeners. Today, I want to talk about a buzzword that's been going around a lot. That's PPE. Now, in the gardening world and in the agriculture world, we've been using PPE for a long time. It stands for Personal Protective Equipment. And where we use it in the home and garden is when we're talking about chemicals, whether that's pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides. And yes, there's even chemicals that we use inside our home that require PPE. So, how do you know what PPE is the correct to use? And I want to tell you that that's found on whatever chemical you're using on the label. And the label can be an open up form of a label, or it can simply be written on the outside of a jug. So where is it normally located? Well, on traditional garden chemicals, it'll be located right inside, and actually right here it says Personal Protective Equipment. Some materials that are chemical resistant in this product are listed below. It also tells you that applicators and other handlers must wear a long sleeve shirt, long pants, chemical resistant gloves made of any waterproof material, plus shoes and socks. So if you notice here today, I also have my long sleeve shirt on, I have my long pants on, and I even have some boots on. Now, part of the reason I have these boots is that I can wash them off, and I really only use them for this purpose. So some other forms of PPE, we also have glasses. You may want an apron or a smock to wear while you're mixing some of your chemicals. And then we have our lesser form of gloves. So let's look at a couple more that we know some stuff about. Roundup. And again, we can find this right there on the label. It says Personal Protective Equipment. Now this one has two different sections on it. One for mixers, loaders, and handlers, and then another one for applicators. So one of the important things to remember when we're talking about PPE is the most dangerous time you're around a chemical is when you're mixing it in this concentrated form, because the concentrated form is the most dangerous form. So we always want to go with the more restrictive PPE. And this one says long sleeve shirt, long pants, shoes, socks, and chemical resistant gloves of any waterproof material. So right now we have our proper PPE on for mixing some Roundup. Now here's one that beekeepers may use, and we're using this one as an example because it doesn't actually have a section that says PPE. One of the things that it does have though is this danger section. And when we see that code word, oftentimes in there will also be the protective equipment that we need to wear. So here, after the first sentence, that says do not get on eyes, on skin, or on clothing, wear protective eyewear such as goggles, a face shield, or safety glasses, wear chemical resistant gloves, and then wash thoroughly with soap and water after handling. Now you may recognize these, they look a lot like kitchen gloves. And the reason that we have those gloves for use in the kitchen is because bleach is a standard household cleaner. Now bleach is caustic and corrosive and actually has its own PPE. These weren't to make sure that your hands stayed nice and soft. So if we look on here, again, it says do not get in eyes or on skin or on clothing. Wear protective eyewear, rubber gloves, and rubber gloves when handling this product. So even in your house, to be following the label of the law, you really need to be wearing some form of protective eyewear and rubber gloves, even when you're using bleach. Now, the other thing we want to be aware of is that when we take this off, we want to make sure that we're not contaminating anything else with the clothes that we've already got on. So we do want to make sure we wash these gloves, wash our shoes, and wash off our goggles if we need to. Any clothing that we've got on, like this long shirt, long pants, once we're done with that, we want to take it immediately to a washing machine, put it in there, start that washing machine, get it going right away. One of the other things that I have here is something that we've heard a lot about recently. This is an N95 mask. The masks, the face masks, are not necessarily needed unless the label calls for it. And if you put one of these on, from a home and garden and agriculture perspective, these are actually supposed to be fitted properly before you put them on. If it doesn't fit and seal around your face, then it's not going to work properly because vapors can still get in around that mask. The other thing we want to be aware of is if we have any pre-existing conditions such as diabetes or high blood pressure, putting a mask on can actually put us at quite a bit of risk. So when we get into some of the chemicals that might be a little more dangerous, ask yourself, is there a safer option that I can use that might not require as restrictive PPE? And if you have any questions about that, that's where you should reach out to Cooperative Extension for recommendations on chemicals. Also, you'll notice this big, beautiful beard that I've got on. I'm not going to be allowed to wear one of these masks with all of this on. Really, what good is it going to do? I'm not going to be able to seal properly around here, and some part of it's going to be exposed. So chemical's still going to get in there around my face. So I too am one of those people that tries to go with the safest product possible so that I don't have to shave this big, beautiful beard. So the next time you're wondering about PPE, make sure you read the label and make sure you start with the proper protective equipment to keep you safe and out of harm's way when you're treating your landscape, your lawn, your garden, or your fruit trees. Thank you and happy gardening.